How did one quiet transfer from our joint account end with papers placed in my hands in my office lobby in front of people who used to clap for me? Why did my husband look calm while I was shaking, like he had been waiting for this exact minute? What do you do when the money is gone, the proof is printed, and the rules change today? My name is Orual Bennett. I was 34 then, and I told myself I was a practical woman. I worked in accounts payable at a logistics company. I paid invoices all day and watched numbers move from one place to another. At home, I also kept our life moving. I planned meals, school clothes, birthdays, and the small things Ethan never saw. Ethan was my husband. He was 36 and worked as a municipal building inspector. People thought he was solid and fair. I used to like that. Later, I started calling it slow. I started saying he had no spark. I said it like it was a fact, not a feeling. Our joint account felt like a shared tool, but in my head, it was also a scoreboard. I told myself I carried the mental load, so I deserved more control. I told myself I gave Ethan peace, so he owed me comfort. When I said these things, I felt smart, I felt safe. The first transfer was small. It was just enough to prove I could do it. I stood in our kitchen with the coffee maker hissing, and I opened my bank app with one hand while I packed Noah's snack with the other. Noah was 8. He watched me like he wanted to ask something, then he didn't. Maya was 5 and sang to herself at the table, tapping her spoon. Ethan walked in and looked at the counter. He asked why there were 2 mugs out again. I said I was moving fast and he should stop being dramatic. He asked what I meant. I said nothing and smiled like it was a joke. I liked that move. It made him doubt himself. When the bank app confirmed the transfer, it felt clean. It looked like any other payment. I told myself it was household money, so it could not be wrong. I told myself I would move it back later, once things calmed down. I said I was only borrowing from us. At work, I acted like my life was normal. I walked into the open plan office with my tote bag and my busy face. My coworker Kelsey asked if I was okay because I looked tired. I said the kids kept me up and Ethan had been moody. Kelsey rolled her eyes like she knew the type. That was what I wanted. I wanted a simple story where Ethan was the problem. At lunch, I sat in the break room with Tara Lopez, my friend from work. Tara loved attention. She always had her phone face up, waiting for a reason to post. She asked if Ethan was still being controlling about money. I told her he was acting like a manager, not a husband. I said he watched our spending like I was a teenager. I did not say I was moving money. I did not say why. Tara said I deserved to feel wanted. She said men like Ethan only understand pressure. I nodded like she was wise. I told myself my friends supported me because they saw the truth. I did not consider they might just like drama. That afternoon, my phone buzzed with a message from Miles Carver. Miles was 35 and worked sales for fitness equipment. I met him in a stupid way, at a gym lobby when I forgot my key tag. He helped me talk to the front desk. He stood close, like he had the right. He made me feel seen in a way that felt easy. Miles wrote that he was stressed. He said a payment was due, and he could not focus. He said he wished he had someone who believed in him. I read that line 3 times, like it was poetry. I told myself Ethan never spoke to me like that. I told myself I had earned this, because I stayed loyal for years, even when I felt lonely. I still think I was right to want more, even if my methods were messy. On my drive home, I stopped at the gym again. I told Ethan earlier that I had to run errands. He asked what errands. I said groceries and school supplies. I said he never helped, so he shouldn't question me. He did not argue. That annoyed me more than a fight. In the gym lobby, Miles met me near the water cooler. He asked if I was okay. I said Ethan had been cold. Miles said Ethan did not deserve me. I let that sentence sit in my chest like a warm stone. Miles said he just needed help one time. He said it was not a big deal. He said couples share money all the time. I did not talk about the money in detail. I kept it vague because vagueness feels safer. I told myself it was not stealing if I planned to fix it later. I told myself I was protecting my happiness, and that mattered for the kids too. I said to myself that a happy mother makes a happy home. It sounded noble when I thought it. That night, Ethan made pasta. He was good with routines. He asked Noah about school. Noah said his teacher gave him a new reading book. Ethan asked Maya about her drawing. Maya said she drew our house and added a big sun. Ethan smiled, but it looked tired. After dinner, Ethan asked if we could look at the budget. He said there were extra movements on the account. He asked if I changed anything. I said prices went up, and he lived in a fantasy. He said he was only asking. I said he always acted like I was hiding something. I watched his face. I wanted him to react. I wanted him to get sharp so I could call him cruel. He didn't. He just nodded and started wiping the table. That calm made me feel less powerful, so I pushed harder. I told him he didn't respect my work at home. I said, respect follows results, and I had results. I implied he would be lost without me. He asked why I was talking like that. I said he brought it out in me. Later, I walked past him in the living room and saw his phone light up. The screen showed a calendar alert titled, Downtown 9:20 a.m. He turned the phone down fast. It was a small move, but it hit me like a slap. My stomach tightened. I told myself he was hiding something. I told myself it proved he couldn't be trusted. I told myself my secrets were a response, not a choice. I went to our bedroom and opened my bank app again. The numbers looked normal if you did not know the pattern. I stared at the transfer button like it was a door. In the hallway, Ethan's footsteps moved toward the kids' rooms, slow and careful. I heard him ask Noah if he packed his bag for tomorrow. Noah said yes in a small voice. I waited until the house felt quiet. Then I moved more money, faster this time, because fear makes me greedy. When the notification flashed, transfer completed, I told myself I was staying ahead of a controlling husband. And in the other room, Ethan quietly wrote something on the wall calendar. The next day, I acted like nothing changed. I woke up early and moved around the kitchen like I owned the air. Ethan was already up. He stood by the sink and stared at the window like it had answers. He asked if I slept well. I said I slept fine, and he should stop scanning my face for guilt. He said he was not scanning. I said he always watched me like I was a problem. At work, I told myself I needed backup. I needed people on my side before Ethan could turn anyone against me. I understood numbers, but I also understood stories. Stories decide who is loved and who is blamed. If I controlled the story, I could control the fallout. In the break room, Tara asked if Ethan had calmed down. I said he was still weird about money. I said he acted like the account was his private property. Tara asked if he ever let me breathe. I said he didn't, and I made my eyes look tired on purpose. Tara said it sounded like emotional control. I nodded like that word explained everything. Kelsey overheard and leaned in. She asked if I was safe. I said safe was not the issue. I said I was just tired of being managed. Kelsey said men like that were all the same. I let her say it. I liked when other people built my case for me. That afternoon, Miles sent another message. He said he felt low. He said he needed someone who believed in him. He asked if I could help with a deposit for an upcoming trip. He wrote that he would pay me back as soon as his commission hit. I read it while an invoice loaded on my screen. I told myself it was just timing. I told myself joint money was meant for our lives, and my life included my happiness. I still think a marriage should not feel like a cage. I just didn't want to admit I was building the cage myself. I did another transfer while sitting at my desk. It took seconds. I liked that. I liked that it was quiet, like a secret hallway only I knew. When the app showed the new balance, my heart sped up. Then I got calm again. Calm felt like power. That night, Tara invited me to a rooftop bar. She said I needed air and a reset. I told Ethan I was meeting co-workers to talk about a vendor issue. He asked why a vendor issue needed a bar. I said he didn't understand networking. He asked when I would be home. I said he was acting like my dad. At the bar, the wind was cold, but the heaters were strong. Tara took photos of drinks and the skyline. She posted them right away. She tagged me. She asked if I wanted to tag Ethan too, like a joke. I laughed and said he would not fit the vibe. That laugh was sharp. I knew it, and I still did it. Tara asked what was really going on at home. I said Ethan was insecure because I had grown. I said he didn't like me having a social life. I said he counted my hours like a prison guard. I didn't mention the gym. I didn't mention Miles. I talked like Ethan was the only reason I felt restless. Janelle showed up later because Tara had invited her too. My sister loved any scene where she could choose sides. Janelle asked if Ethan was still being stingy. I said he was worse. I said he questioned every little thing. I said I couldn't even buy myself a coffee without him acting hurt. Janelle said I should protect my independence. Tara agreed. They made it sound like I was brave. They started sharing husband stories, like a game. I joined in. I said Ethan acted like a saint in public, but made me feel small at home. I said he needed me to approve him all the time. I said he couldn't handle a strong wife. I watched their faces. I wanted their anger on my behalf. It felt like armor. Tara took a short video for her story. She asked if I wanted to say something funny. I said Ethan would probably ask for a receipt for the ice cubes. They laughed loudly. People near us turned and smiled, like we were entertaining them. I liked the attention. I liked that my husband became a joke without even being there. When I got home, the driveway light was on. Ethan opened the door before I knocked. He asked if I had fun. I said it wasn't fun, it was work. He said he saw the rooftop photos. I said he was stalking my page. He said it was public. I said he could still be creepy with public things. He asked why I told people he was controlling. I pretended to be shocked. I asked how he knew I said that. He said Tara had posted captions that sounded like my words. I said Tara wrote her own captions. I said he was blaming me for things other people did. He asked if I believed what was written. I said if he didn't want that label, he should stop acting that way. He didn't raise his voice. That made me angry. I wanted him to look guilty and loud. He just said he wanted peace for the kids. I said he always hid behind the kids to avoid real talks. He said he was going to bed. I followed him down the hall and kept talking because silence felt like losing. In the guest room, I saw the bed look slightly used, like someone had laid on it. That hit me in a strange way. Ethan had always slept in our room, even after fights. I asked why he was in there. He said he needed sleep. I said he was punishing me. He said he wasn't punishing anyone. As he turned to plug in his phone, I noticed his screen again. Another calendar reminder popped up, short and plain, like, meeting personal. He tapped it away fast. I asked what personal meeting he had. He said it was his business. I laughed and said privacy was rich coming from him. He looked at me for a second, like he was choosing his next step carefully. I went back toward the kitchen and heard a low sound from the hallway closet. It was brief, like a shredder starting and stopping. I froze and listened. It stopped again. The house felt too quiet after that. I told myself he was hiding things. I told myself he was planning something against me, and that made my choices feel safer in my head. The next morning at work, I doubled down. At the lunch table, I told Kelsey and Tara that Ethan had started collecting information about me. I said he stared at screens and stopped talking. I said it felt threatening. Kelsey asked if he ever yelled. I said he didn't need to yell to be controlling. Tara said silent men were the worst. I let them say it, and I nodded like a victim. Later that day, my mother called. Darlene asked if things were okay in my marriage because she had heard a little. I said Ethan had been cold and tight with money. I said he didn't appreciate me. She asked if I had done something wrong. I said she was blaming me like always. She said she wasn't blaming, she was worried. I told her Ethan was making me look bad. She said I should pray and keep the family together. I said prayer didn't fix a selfish man. That evening, I checked the joint account again. The balance looked thinner, but not empty. I told myself it was still fine. I told myself Ethan didn't even know what he was looking at. Then Ethan walked past the kitchen doorway with a plain folder in his hand. I only saw it for a second, but the label looked like bank. He didn't hide it. He didn't explain it either. He just placed it somewhere out of sight and kept walking, calm as ever. Saturday came with sunlight that felt too bright for how tense our house was. Ethan still did all the normal things. He made pancakes for the kids. He cut fruit into neat pieces. He asked Noah about his soccer practice. He asked Maya if she wanted strawberries or banana. His voice stayed even, like he was reading from a calm script. That calm made me feel like I was losing control. I told myself he was trying to look like the good guy. I told myself he wanted people to pity him. In my head, that meant I needed to move first. I needed to make sure everyone saw him as the problem, not me. We had a family dinner that night at a family restaurant with a long table. It was for my father's birthday. My mother invited everyone, including Ethan's parents. I knew that mix would be hard, which was exactly why it was useful. In public, I could shape the story. In public, Ethan could not react much. On the drive there, Ethan asked if we could keep it peaceful in front of the kids. I said he was the one who needed rules, because he always got tense. He said he didn't want the kids to feel stress. I said the kids only felt stress because he made everything serious. At the restaurant, the air smelled like fried food and sweet sauce. The server brought baskets of bread and little plates. My sister Janelle sat beside me and smiled like she was ready to watch a show. Tara was there too, because my mother had invited her, since she was like family. That annoyed Ethan, and I liked that. Ethan's mother Patricia arrived with a careful smile. She hugged the kids, then looked at me like she was checking the temperature of the room. Ethan's father Gordon came behind her, quiet, hands in his jacket pockets. My father Stephen tried to be cheerful. He said he wanted one nice night. My mother Darlene said we would have a nice night, and her eyes warned me not to embarrass her. I waited until the drinks came. I waited until everyone relaxed. Then I started. Janelle asked Ethan how work was going. Ethan said inspections were busy. I laughed and said he loved telling people about rules. I said he acted like the police for small things. People chuckled. Ethan's smile was thin. Tara asked Ethan if he ever took a day off. Ethan said he didn't take many. I said he wouldn't even take a day off from checking our spending. I said he needed a spreadsheet to buy a soda. Tara laughed too loud, the way she did when she wanted others to join. A couple of people down the table looked over. Ethan asked me to stop. He said it quietly, like a request. I said he was proving my point. I said he couldn't take a joke. I said everyone was just having fun, and he always had to ruin the mood. My mother tried to change the subject. She asked the kids about school. Noah answered, but he kept his eyes on his plate. Maya talked about her drawing again and said she drew a big sun because she wanted happy. That word hit the table like a soft stone. Nobody commented, but I saw Patricia's face tighten. My father raised his glass for a toast. He said he was grateful for family. Tara lifted her phone right away. She asked if she could record. My mother said yes. The phone camera lifted like a small spotlight. My father spoke, and people clapped. Then Tara pointed the camera down the table and asked for quick birthday wishes. When it reached me, I smiled and said I wished my dad long life and fewer boring men in the world. People laughed because it sounded harmless. Then I added that Ethan was the most boring man I had ever met, and it was a miracle I stayed married. The laughter was louder. It rolled across the table. In that moment, it felt like winning. I felt protected by noise. Ethan didn't explode. He didn't slam the table. He just looked at me like he was memorizing my face. He asked why I said that. I said because it was true. I said he needed a wake-up call. I said he should be grateful I still chose him. Patricia put down her fork. She asked if I understood what I was doing. I said I was joking. She said it wasn't a joke if it hurt the kids and humiliated her son. I told her she was too sensitive. I told her she came from a time when women had to be quiet. I said I would not be quiet. Gordon asked Ethan if he wanted to step outside for a minute. Ethan said he was fine. He asked Noah if he wanted dessert. Noah said he wasn't hungry. Ethan nodded and didn't push. That made my throat tighten for a second, and I hated that feeling, so I pushed it away. After dinner, we walked outside into the cool night. The parking lot lights made everything look pale. My mother asked if I could behave for once. I said Ethan's family always made everything about Ethan. Janelle said I was just speaking my truth. My mother looked torn between defending me and protecting her image. Ethan said he would take the kids to the car. I watched him buckle them in with calm hands. I watched Noah stare out the window without talking. I told myself he was only quiet because he was tired. I didn't want to admit he might be ashamed. On the drive home, Ethan asked why I needed to attack him in front of everyone. I said he attacked me first with his coldness. He said he hadn't attacked me. I said silence was an attack. I said his good guy act was manipulative. At home, I couldn't sleep. The restaurant laughter kept playing in my head, like a clip on repeat. I checked my phone and saw Tara had posted the toast video. My joke about Ethan was in it. People had already liked it. One comment said I was iconic. Another said Ethan should loosen up. I felt proud and sick at the same time. Then Miles messaged. He said he saw Tara's story and asked if I was okay. I said it was fine. He said Ethan didn't deserve me. He said I deserved a man who would spoil me, not question me. He asked if I could help him with a flight for his next work trip. He said it was urgent. He said he hated asking, but he trusted me. I told myself this was proof that someone needed me. I told myself Ethan never needed me in the right way. I opened the bank app and stared at the balance. I thought about Patricia's face and Noah's silence. Then I thought about the comment calling me iconic. I chose the feeling that made me feel big. A few minutes later, I heard a soft beep from the living room. It sounded like a phone starting something. I walked down the hall and saw Ethan sitting on the edge of the couch with his phone face down on the coffee table. His posture was still. He looked up and asked if I needed something. I said I was getting water. He said okay and didn't move. I went into the kitchen and poured a glass slowly. My hands felt warm. I glanced back, and Ethan's phone screen lit for a moment before going dark again. I couldn't see what it showed, but I heard another soft beep, quick and clean, like a recording app marking time. Monday felt heavier than it should. The weekend dinner still sat in the house like smoke. Ethan moved around me without touching me. He was polite in a way that made me feel judged. I told myself he was doing it on purpose, to make me look crazy if I complained. In the morning, I stood in the kitchen and checked the joint account again. I watched the numbers like they were a mood ring. I told myself I was only balancing things until my life felt fair. Ethan walked in and set a lunchbox on the counter. He asked if I could stop doing transfers without telling him. I said I didn't know what he was talking about. He said the account showed changes. I said the bank app was confusing and he was overreacting. He asked if I thought he was stupid. I said I thought he was anxious and needed help. He didn't argue. He just nodded and said he wanted clear limits for bills. He said the account needed structure. I laughed and said he was trying to put me on a leash. He said he wasn't trying to control me. I said control was still control, even if he used calm words. He took his mug and walked away, like he had decided something. At school pickup, the line moved slowly. Cars crept forward like tired animals. I sat behind the wheel and watched other mothers talk through open windows. When Ethan pulled in behind me, My face got hot. He usually didn't come on weekdays. He rolled down his window and asked if we could talk after pickup. I said it depended on his attitude. He said he just wanted a plan for the week. I said he always needed a plan because he couldn't handle life. Noah climbed into the car and shut the door softly. He didn't throw his bag like he used to. He asked if Dad was coming home tonight. I said Dad was being sensitive again. Noah looked down and nodded like he was trying to be small. Maya ran up after him and asked if we could go to the playground. I said yes because I wanted to look like a good mom, even if my head was loud. At the playground, Maya climbed the ladder and waved. Noah sat on the swing but didn't swing high. Ethan stood near the fence with his hands in his pockets, watching them. I walked closer and asked why he was suddenly showing up. He said the kids needed steady routines. I said they had routines and he was acting dramatic. He asked why Noah had been so quiet lately. I said Noah was fine and Ethan was imagining things. Ethan said he wanted to separate some money for bills only. He said the account should not be used for random things. I asked what random meant. He said anything that wasn't household. I said my needs were household needs because I lived there. He said he wasn't trying to punish me. I said he was punishing me with math. He asked if I could just be honest. I said honesty wasn't the problem, his tone was. He looked at me for a long second, then looked back at the kids. He said he would pick them up on Wednesday too. I said he couldn't just decide that. He said he could if it was best for them. I told him he was trying to take them from me. He said he wasn't taking anyone. He said he was being a father. That word hit me because it made him sound solid. I didn't want him to sound solid. I wanted him to sound selfish. So I leaned into my story. I said he was only doing this to look good in front of people. He said he didn't care about people. He said he cared about Noah and Maya. On the way home, my phone buzzed with a message from Miles. He asked if I was still upset from the dinner. I said I was fine and Ethan was being controlling. Miles said a man who loved me would never try to limit me. He said I deserved someone who trusted me. He said he needed help again, and he hated to ask, but he couldn't do it alone. He said his hotel deposit had to be paid today. I told myself Miles was just having a hard time. I told myself I was the only one who understood him. I told myself Ethan had his parents, and his job and his calm mask, but I had nobody who truly saw me. That was not fully true, but it felt true when I wanted it. In the pharmacy queue later, I stood behind an old man counting coins. Maya held my hand and hummed. Noah stared at a rack of cough drops like it was the most interesting thing in the world. I opened my bank app with my thumb, careful and fast. I moved more money, bigger than before. My heart thumped, but I kept my face still. I told myself it was just a transfer, not a crime. I told myself I would replace it after Miles paid me back. When we got home, Ethan was at the dining table with his laptop open. A plain spreadsheet was on the screen. It wasn't a fancy report. It was lines and columns with dates and amounts. He didn't hide it when I walked in. He just clicked to another tab and closed the laptop like it wasn't a big deal. I asked what he was doing. He said he was organizing bills. I said he was organizing me. He said he was organizing life. I said he was obsessed. He said he was tired. That night, Noah asked if he could sleep with the hallway light on. Ethan said yes right away. I wanted to say no, because rules mattered to me when I wanted them to. But Ethan's yes came out so calm that it made me look harsh if I pushed. I told myself Ethan was using the kids to win. I told myself I was being reasonable by not fighting it. After the kids went to bed, Ethan didn't come to our room. He went to the guest room again. I followed him and asked if he was going to keep sleeping there like a victim. He asked why I needed to mock him. I said I wasn't mocking, I was saying the truth. He asked what truth. I said he was cold and punishing and tight with money. He said he was trying to protect the household. I said protect sounded like control. He reached into his pocket and pulled out his keys. I noticed a new key on the ring, shiny and plain. I asked what it was for. He said it was just a spare. I said a spare for what? He said it didn't matter. I said it mattered because he was hiding things. He said he wasn't hiding, he was preparing. That word, preparing, made my skin prickle. I didn't want him to prepare. I wanted him to chase me, to argue, to beg. I wanted chaos, because chaos made my choices easier to excuse. Calm made my choices look ugly. In our bedroom, I texted Miles and told him the transfer went through. He replied with a heart and said I was the only real person in his life. I let that line comfort me, even as my stomach tightened. I told myself I was building a second life because my first life didn't appreciate me. A little later, I walked past the hallway closet and smelled toner, like someone had printed something earlier. On the desk near the living room, the printer tray held one blank page, still warm. Ethan sat on the couch with his phone face down again. A soft beep sounded, quick and small. He didn't look up. He didn't need to. His calm felt like a wall, and I hated walls because I couldn't push them around. By Thursday, I felt like the house was split into two sides, and I was supposed to stand in the middle and smile. Ethan did his routines with the kids and avoided me in a way that looked polite. I told myself he was trying to punish me without saying the word. I told myself it was emotional control, just quieter. That morning, I came into the kitchen and saw two mugs again, set far apart on the counter like they belonged to strangers. Ethan was packing Noah's lunch. Noah watched him with that careful face he had now. Maya asked if Dad would come to her school show next week. Ethan said he would. I wanted to roll my eyes, but I didn't, because the kids were listening. Ethan asked if we could talk about the account one more time. I said we had talked enough. He said the transfers were still happening. I said he was obsessing and needed a hobby. He asked if I could stop moving money without agreement. I said agreement meant permission, and permission meant control. He said he didn't want to fight. I said he always said that when he wanted to be the hero. Then he did something that made my chest tighten. He pulled out his phone, not to show me anything, just to check it. I saw a reminder pop up, plain and cold, like meeting personal. He swiped it away and put the phone back in his pocket. I asked what personal meeting he kept having. He said it was about organizing life. I said that sounded like a lie. He said he didn't want to argue in front of the kids. I said he was hiding behind them again. At work, I stayed late on purpose. Late work gave me cover, and I needed cover because Miles had started asking for more. He didn't say money like it was money. He said help. He said support. He said proof. When he wrote those words, my brain turned them into love. Miles messaged that afternoon and said his card got flagged. He said he couldn't book a hotel for a sales trip. He said he would lose a client if he looked unreliable. He asked if I could front it, just this once, and he would fix it soon. I read the message and felt annoyed at him for needing me, and proud at the same time. I told myself Ethan never needed me like that. I told myself being needed meant being important. Kelsey walked by my desk and asked why I was still there. I said month-end had me stuck. She asked if Ethan was still acting intense. I said yes, and I made my voice tired. I said he watched the joint account like it was his baby. Kelsey said that sounded exhausting. I said it was. I didn't say I was making it exhausting. After everyone left, the office got quiet. The lights hummed. I opened my bank app and stared at the balance like it was my reflection. I told myself I had done enough. I told myself I should slow down. Then I saw Miles's last message again, the one where he said he would never forget what I did for him. That line pushed the right button in me. I did another transfer. It was bigger than I planned. My finger moved like it wasn't mine. A second later, a notification popped up and said the transfer completed. I exhaled and told myself it was still our money. I told myself Ethan didn't even use it right. I told myself I was investing in something that made me feel alive. When I drove home, I saw Ethan's car already in the driveway, pointed toward the street, instead of backed in like he usually did. That small detail made me feel watched. Inside, the house was too tidy, like someone had cleaned to calm their nerves. Ethan was at the counter rinsing dishes. He asked how work was. I said it was work. He asked if I could tell him where I'd been after work yesterday, too. I said I was not on parole. He said he wasn't treating me like that. I said then he should stop asking questions like a detective. Noah came in and said he needed poster board for a project. Ethan said he'd take him to get it. I said I could do it. Ethan said he already promised. His voice stayed flat, not rude but firm. That firmness made me feel like I was losing my place. While Ethan and Noah were gone, Maya sat on the rug and played with her blocks. She asked why Dad didn't sleep with us anymore. I said Dad liked quiet and he was being dramatic. She asked if Dad was mad at me. I said no, and I smiled too wide. She nodded, but she didn't look sure. When Ethan came back, he carried the poster board and a small bag of snacks. He put them down and went to the hallway closet. I heard a soft click, like a drawer lock. He came out with a folder in his hand, plain and thick, with a label I couldn't fully read. It looked like it might say utilities or bank, but he turned it away and slid it onto a shelf. He didn't show it to me. He didn't hide it in panic either. That calm again. I decided I needed a public win. If Ethan was building something quiet, I needed noise. That night, there was a fundraiser at the community hall for the kids' school. Families would be there. Teachers would be there. People would talk. Tara was going, and she promised she would keep the mood light. At the hall, there were folding chairs, raffle baskets, and a table of baked goods. The air smelled like coffee and cheap perfume. Ethan stood near the wall with other parents and nodded politely. I watched him and felt irritated that he looked normal. I wanted him to look guilty. Tara found me and said we should take photos. She asked where Ethan was. I pointed him out like he was a prop. Tara said he looked like a man at a dentist office. I laughed. I wanted everyone near us to hear. A couple of mums did. When the raffle started, the host asked for a few words from families. Tara pushed me toward the microphone area like it was a stage. I didn't grab the mic, but I stood close enough to be seen. I started talking to a small group instead, loudly. I said Ethan was being weird about money. I said he acted like I was a thief for buying basic things. I said he didn't understand what it costs to run a home. A few people laughed in that uncomfortable way, and I counted it as support. Ethan walked over, calm and slow. He asked if we could step outside for a minute. I said he was trying to silence me. He said he wasn't. He said he didn't want this in public. I said public was where the truth lived. He said the truth didn't need an audience. Tara raised her phone and said she wanted to record for memories. Ethan looked at the phone, then looked at me. He asked if I wanted the kids to see clips of this later. I said the kids wouldn't care. He said Noah already cared. He said Noah had been quiet, and it wasn't random. That annoyed me because it sounded real. I said he was blaming me for Noah's mood. He said he wasn't blaming. He said he was noticing. I said noticing was just another way to judge. He took a breath and kept his voice steady. He said he wasn't going to fight me in the hall. He said he would not argue in front of friends. He said if I kept turning the marriage into a show, then he would do what adults do and handle it properly. He didn't raise his voice when he said it. That was the worst part. He looked at me like he had already accepted the next step, and he said he would handle it properly. The next morning, I dressed like nothing was wrong. I picked a blazer that made me look serious. I told myself Ethan's properly line was just a threat to scare me. I told myself he would cool down and come back to the old pattern, where I could push and he would bend. At the office, I tried to act normal. I answered emails. I paid invoices. I talked to Kelsey about a late shipment like my life was still small and simple. She asked if things were calmer at home. I said Ethan was still moody, but I had it under control. I said he liked to play the victim. Around mid-morning, my phone buzzed. It was not Miles. It was an unknown number. I ignored it. Then it buzzed again. I glanced down and saw a preview that said my banking app needed attention. My chest tightened for a second, and I told myself it was nothing. At lunch, Tara sent me a message with laughing emojis. She wrote that the fundraiser drama was legendary. She said Ethan looked like a statue, and she said I owned the room. I stared at her words and tried to feel proud. I felt shaky instead. After lunch, my manager asked if I could step into the lobby for a moment. She said there was someone asking for me by name. I asked who. She said she didn't know, but it sounded official. I laughed a little and said maybe a vendor was lost. My manager didn't laugh back. The office tower lobby was bright and cold. People walked through with coffee cups and badges. The security desk sat in the center like a small stage. When I reached it, I saw Ethan standing near the wall, calm and still. He wasn't alone. A man in plain clothes stood with him, holding a folder. Another person stood a few steps away, watching like this was routine. For a second I felt rage, because Ethan brought an audience. Then I remembered I had built audiences too. I just never expected one like this. Ethan looked at me, not with anger, but with something final. He asked if we could keep it calm. I said he was stalking me at work now. He said he was not there to talk. He said he was there to do it properly. The man with the folder asked if I was Orual Bennett. I said yes, and I asked what this was. He said he needed to confirm my identity. He said he had documents for me. He said I was being served. I looked around fast. My manager stood a few feet behind me, frozen. 2 co-workers slowed down as they passed, pretending not to watch. The security guard leaned forward, like he had seen this before. I told the man it was a misunderstanding. I said my husband was unstable. I said he was trying to punish me because I was independent. The man didn't react. He said he couldn't discuss it, and he repeated that the documents were for me. He held them out. I didn't want to take them. Taking them made it real. But the man didn't move, and my manager's eyes stayed on my hands. So I took the folder. Ethan said very little. He said the paperwork explained the next steps. He said he was not going to argue in my workplace. He said communication would be about the kids and logistics only. I opened the folder just enough to see the words that mattered. I saw divorce. I saw temporary orders. I saw a parenting schedule with dates and times. I saw a list of account activity with lines that looked like my secret life turned into math. It had transfers, amounts, and notes. It had a timeline. My mouth went dry. I told Ethan he was humiliating me. I said he could have talked to me like a normal person. He said he tried. He said I turned every talk into a performance. He said he was done performing. I said the money was ours. I said I only moved it because he was tight and cold. I said he pushed me to it. He didn't raise his voice. He said the joint account was now restricted by temporary order. He said there were safeguards in place today. He said the kids would be picked up according to the schedule starting now. My manager asked if I needed to step into the conference room. I said no, but my voice sounded thin. My manager said she needed to document the interruption. She said we would talk privately. I pulled out my phone and opened the banking app. I tried to move money back, fast, like I could undo time. I tapped the transfer button. I entered an amount small enough to look harmless. I hit confirm. A red message appeared. Transaction declined. I stared at it like it was a cruel joke. I tried again, and the same message appeared. My hand started to shake, and I hated myself for shaking in public. Ethan looked at my screen without stepping closer. He said the order was active. He said it wasn't a debate. He said he would not block me from basics, but the joint account would no longer be a free tool for lies. I wanted to call Miles. I wanted to blame someone. I wanted to find a way out through noise. But the lobby stayed bright, and the people stayed real, and the folder stayed heavy in my hands. Ethan nodded once, like he was closing a door. Then he turned and walked out of the lobby without touching me, without yelling, and without looking back.